This is Mrs. Robertson, and today we are going over study guide number 1 for our equation test, which is tomorrow. Tonight I have study guide number 2 for you to do, which is very similar to this to help you get ready for the test. All right, the test is very similar to this, except for the first section, there are 4 problems like this as opposed to 3. So let's go over how to get the answers to these problems. This says x divided by 5 equals 6. What number here divided by 5 gives you the answer 6? Which number should I circle? Yes. 30. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So you circle that and you've got that answer right. Any questions? Good. Let's go on to the second part of number 1. All right. Which of these numbers will make that statement true? What plus 8 equals 20? Which of those? Yes. 12. You circle the 12. This says 3 times x equals 60. 3 times what is 60? What are you going to replace it with? Yes. 20. 3 times 20 is 60. Any questions on how to do these problems? All right. Very easy. Now, in the next section, I will be very picky on how you do these. If you do not do these correctly, you will lose points. This part is all about showing algebraic steps correctly. It's not can you get the answer right, it's how do you show algebraic steps. Okay, so this says y plus 24 equals 51. To undo this, we have to do the inverse of addition. What's the inverse of addition? Yes. Right. So you're going to put minus, and you're going to subtract both sides. By 24, you have to put minus 24 twice. Why? You're balancing your equation. What you do on the left side of the equal sign, you have to do on the right side. So a plus 24 minus 24 cancels it out. Bring your equal sign down. Your variable, your job is to say, I need to get y all by itself. What does y equal? Well, borrow from the 5, it turns into a 4, so that can be an 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. 4 minus 2 is 2. Y equals 27. You get 1 point for the work. That's worth 1 point or 1 problem. This is worth 1 point or 1 problem. And then you do the check step. How do you do the check step? Yes.
27 plus 24 equals 51.
Right. You take the value for y and replace y with it. So you're going to say, does 27 plus 24 equal 51? Yes, it does. Now, you can do your check step vertically, or you could do it horizontally. If you wanted to write it like this, that's okay too. You can do it either way. Any questions on how to do a check step? Okay, let's go on to the next problem. This problem says 32 7/10 equals t minus 6 1/10. What's the inverse operation of subtracting 6 1/10, Ava? Add. So we're going to add 6 1/10, and you have to show it twice to get your points on this side, okay? That cancels. Put your equal sign down, and now you have t all by itself. What is 32 7/10 plus 6 1/10? 7 plus 1 is 8. Put your decimal point down. 2 plus 6 is 8. And bring down the 3. So you have 38 8/10 equals t. Any questions? Now we do the check step. For the check step, you replace t with the value of 38 8/10. 38 8/10 minus 6 1/10. You all know to line up your decimal points when adding or subtracting. And when we do this, 8 minus 1 is 7. 8 minus 6 is 2. I get 32 7/10. Yep, that matches 32 7/10. I have my check step. Any questions? Nice job, class. Let's go on to the next problem. In problem number 4, this says 14 times D equals 224. What's the inverse operation of multiplication? Yes. Division. And you have to show it with the bar because this is about algebraic steps. Don't use the division sign with the dots. You have to do the bar. Did everyone draw the bar? All right. Now, you're going to get D equals, well, I can't divide that in my head, so I'm going to just show my work over here. 224 divided by 14. 14 goes into 22 one time. Subtract. Get an 8. Bring down the 4. 14 will go into 84 6 times. 14 times 6 is 84. So D equals 16. Now we do the check step. Does 14 times 16 equal 224? Let's find out. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry a 2. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. Put down a 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Add them together. Yep, 224, 224. Yes, it does, and I've got a check mark on that. Here you go if you need a worksheet, okay? Did you have it from last week?
Yeah.
All right. If not, I've got one for you. Now let's go to problem number 5. In problem number 5, this says 75 and 6/10 equals 4 and 2/10 times x. What's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. Now to get the answer, I'm just going to show my division over here. 75, when you're in 7th grade next year, they'll let you use a calculator for these problems after you show your work like this. But in 6th grade, we don't get to the test. You don't get to use a calculator on the test. Okay, how many 42s are in a 75? Just one. Subtract. Bring down. How many 42s are in a 336? 8. 8 times 2 is 16, carry a 1. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. So x will equal 18. Circle that. Now we're doing the check step. So you're going to replace x with 18. Does 4 and 2/10 times 18, let's see what we get. Hopefully it's 75.6. 8 times 2 is 16, carry a 1. 32 plus 1 is 33. Place value 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. Add the numbers together. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? Just one. So in the product, you'll have one number behind it, and it matches. You get 75 and 6/10, which matches 75 and 6/10 in our original equation. It's correct. Any questions? All right. I like the last two problems. These are pretty simple. This says 40 equals t divided by 21. What's the opposite of dividing by 21? Yes. And we show multiplication with parentheses. So put parentheses on both sides, and you're multiplying by 21. So put a 21 in both parentheses. That cancels it out, doesn't it? Put your equal sign underneath the original equal sign. Your variable, what's 21 times 40? Well, 21 times 40, 840. 840 equals T. Now we have to do the check step. 840 divided by 21. Hopefully it'll give us 40. 840, or 40. Let's go do this. Does 840 divided by 21, what do you get? 21 goes into 84 4 times. Subtract. Bring down. How many 21s are in that? None. Brought the 0 down, so it's a 40. And yes, that's a good match. So we put a check mark there. Any questions? All right, let's go on to number 7. In number 7, it says x divided by 5 equals 12. Jordan, what are we going to do in problem number 7? Right. And how do we show multiplication in algebra? Right. So we're going to put parentheses on each side, and we're going to times it by the 5. Line up your equal sign. You'll have x equals 5 times 12, I know is 60. Okay? Circle it. Now let's do the check step. Replace x with 60. Is 60 divided by 12, what do you get? 60 divided by 5, it is 12. And just to show you, 60 divided by 5 does equal 12. Any questions? Okay, kids, on your test tomorrow, these problems are worth 22 points altogether. Okay? Because we only had 3, but there are 4. And then you get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So that 22 points on the front side. You will have 2 days if you need it to finish this test, because tomorrow we're going to go over study guide number 2 before you take the test, okay? I will be going faster than I am today. Are we ready to do the back side? Could everyone get all 22 points on the front side? Question. I know, I'll give them to you later. Okay. Any questions on the ones you were here for? Everyone good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to go to the back side. These are not hard, but you have to pay attention and focus at your reading. Okay? These are worth 4 points. You get 1 point for your variable, 1 point for your equation. Your work, you have to show work. You get 1 point for that and 1 point for the solution. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you get the 4 points. And this side is worth 20 points total. Altogether, your test is 42 points. Okay? Now let's tackle these problems and be successful with how to do them. Levi packed 48 boxes at the store. This is 22 more than the number of bags he packed. Write and solve an addition equation to find, the F was cut off, the number of bags Levi packed. Well, okay, what do they want us to know? Levi's bags. Okay, so I'm going to use the variable B. B equals Levi's bags. You could just say B equals bags. It doesn't matter there. Now the equation. In the words, it says an addition equation. What does an addition equation look like? Well, it has a plus sign and an equal sign. You have something plus something equals something. Doesn't everyone agree that's what an addition equation looks like? Now we just have to fill in some blanks. Well, we know we're going to use the variable B, we're going to use the number 48, and we're going to use the number 22. These are the things we're going to put on the blanks. You got it? We just have to figure out where to put them. Well, 48 is 22 more than the number of bags he packed. Well, it's going to be the bags he packed plus 22 equals 48. That's where you're going to fill in your numbers. Doesn't that make sense? Levi's bags plus 22 equals the total number of bags he has, which is 48. Any questions on that? Now, your work. I'm not going to be a stickler on your work like I was on the front side. If you do not put minus 22, B equals 48 minus 22 is 26. If you just want to over here show 48 minus 22 equals 26, that's fine. But you can't just put down B equals 26. You have to show that you subtracted somewhere there, okay? Any questions on that? So if you just put down minus 22 on one side, I'm not going to count it wrong if you only did it once. On this side, you have to show them by balancing your equations. This side, I'll be a little more lenient. Okay, now let's go to the next problem, number 9. Number 9 says, the difference between the high and low temperatures one day was 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, difference means I'm subtracting, right? And it looks like I have high minus low equals 15. Now, I'm just writing stuff down before I even go to this section over here. It says write and solve a subtraction equation to find the high temperature. So what's our variable going to be? I'm going to use the variable H. You can use any letter, but it's going to be high temperature. Okay, high temperature. Now my equation. Oh, they want a subtraction equation. Well, something minus something equals something, right? So now we have to fill in the numbers. What are the numbers we're going to use? You have 15, you have 53, and we have a variable. All right. Well, the difference between the high and the low. Oh, and the low is 55. So I'm going to replace L with, or 53, excuse me. So high minus 53 equals 15. I have my equation. High minus the low, which is 53, gives you a difference of 15. Jordan, are you feeling okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your head has been down during this whole problem, so make sure you follow along, okay, hon? All right, so now we can figure this out. To undo subtraction, we're going to add. Add 53, add 53. And we are going to get our high. 15 plus 53 is 68. Now go back and double check. High temperature, that means it's got to be higher than 53. Is 68 bigger than 53? Yeah. And that's a 15-degree difference. So we have all 4 points. Now let's say you know the answer 68, but you couldn't figure out an equation. You would get 3 of your 4 points. But I think everyone in here could do that equation. Any questions? Yes.
For the work, you don't have to do it.
You have to show work somewhere. Maybe if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to do 53 minus or plus 15 over here, that would be okay. You have to show some work someplace, okay? All right, now let's go to number 10. That should probably be Mr. because they have the word he, pronoun he later on in the problem. It says Mr. Morales spent $31.90 on games. Each game cost $1.45. Write and solve an equation. And you can have any type of an equation. Did they tell you to write a certain type? No. So the nice thing is you can do any type of equation you want to there. To find how many games he paid for in all. Okay, so let's get going on this problem here. Our variable, games he paid for. I'm going to use G equals games. or total games. Or you put paid for games, okay? Now, any type of an equation. Well, what are we going to use? We have to use this number, and the letter G. Well, this one's really pretty simple. All you do is divide. $31.90 divided by $1.45 equals G. That's an equation, isn't it? Do I have an equal sign? Yeah. Do I have a variable? Yeah. I've got an equation. Now all you do is divide. So you show $31.90 divided by $1.45, and we'll get our answer, because that's all we have to do in that one. So move your decimal point 2 places. Move it 2 places. $1, that'll go into 2 times 145 goes into that. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry a 1. Okay. Subtract. Oh, this one's pretty easy. Get 290 again. Well, we know 2 goes into that. So there's my work. How many games? G equals 22 games. Does that make sense? $31.90 for games. Each game was $1.45. Yeah, $22 or 22 games is a reasonable amount. Question.
How do you know to put the G on the one
Okay, on that one, I knew to figure out how to get this one. It's like, well, it's going to be smaller than $31.90. I'm either going to subtract or divide because it's going to be smaller. And it's like, oh, I got to divide. Each one's $1.45. So when you know that something's $1.45, how many $1.45s are in $31.90? You divide. So you can narrow it down as like, is it going to be bigger or smaller? And it's like, oh, I'm going to be dividing or subtracting. Okay? Question. All right. Yeah. What you have to do is just think about it. And when it's money, you kids can sort of understand money things. Now, you could have done a problem where you had, well, this one is just the easiest by doing the division. If I show you the other equation, it's just going to get confusing. So let's go on because we have 2 more and I want to go over a few more things. And I can always give you another example for an equation like that later. But let's go on to number 11. There are 192 students that participated in a cleanup event at the park. That 192, is 1/3 of the entire population. Write and solve an equation to find the number of students at the school. I'm going to use P for total students, okay? I'm not going to use an S because my S's sometimes look like 5s. So P equals total students. Did all the students go to the cleanup event? No, only 1/3 of the kids did. All right, now we've got to come up with an equation. We have 1/3, we have 192, and we want to know how many students that is. Well, we know that 1/3 of all the students, so 1/3 times all the students equals 192. I think I've got my equation there. Okay, so I'm going to use the equation 1/3 times P equals 192. Now, another way to write this equation is like this. You could say P divided by 3 equals 192. Both of these say the same thing. Okay? How do you get rid of 1/3? You multiply by its reciprocal, right? What's the reciprocal of 1/3? 3/1. So we're going to get P equals 3 times 192. So 192 times 3. 576. Now, does that make sense? the entire student population, is it going to be bigger than 192? Yes, it is. In fact, if you know it's a third of it, you could add 192 3 times and you get 576, okay? And some of you know it's like, I know the answer is 576, but I just don't know how to write the equation. You would only lose one of your 4 points if you couldn't write the equation, okay? But I think most of you can figure out the equation. Now let's go to problem number 12, the last one of these. In number 12, Maya is buying pencils for her math class. Each pencil is 7 cents each. How many pencils did she buy if she spent $4.20? Okay, what do we want to know in the question? How many pencils did she buy? I'm going to use P again, and this time P equals total pencils. All right, total pencils. You can just write down pencils. How many pencils can she buy for $4.20? Well, did it say you had to write any type of an equation? No. We know that 7 cents times your pencils equals $4.20, right? 7 cents times the pencils equals $4.20. That's an equation. If you put $4.20 divided by 0.07 equals P, I would count that right too, okay? This could be an equation. This could be an equation. You got it? Both of those are right. This one just tells you to stay. What are you going to do? You just divide. All right, so let's divide. $4.20 divided by 0.07. Move it 2 places. 1, 2, 1, 2. Put it straight up. How many 7s are in a 42? 6. 7 times 6 is 42. Did she buy 6 pencils? No, she bought 60 pencils because there was a 0. So P equals 60. And that's how we get our answers there. Any questions? All right, then tonight you're going to do study guide number 2. It's similar to this, just different numbers and names to help you get ready for the test. And I'm going to give that to you now. You can watch this video again if you need help on what to do for the test. Have a good day. Don't forget to study.